The video that would soon spread across the internet, reaching millions in just days, began on the south lawn of the White House. The atmosphere that afternoon was charged with a sense of history. Rows upon rows of American flags waved in the warm summer breeze, their colors catching the sunlight and casting shimmering reflections across the eager crowd. Families of veterans, active duty soldiers, political leaders, and journalists from every major network had gathered. Each person, sensing they were about to witness something important, cameras were set, microphones angled, and anticipation rippled like a current through the crowd. At the podium stood President Donald Trump, his expression unusually solemn as he prepared to recognize a man whose name had become whispered in reverent tones within military circles and beyond. That man was Navy SEAL Commander Jack Reynolds. For over 2 decades, Reynolds had fought in the world's most dangerous corners, facing storms at sea, fire on the battlefield, and shadows of missions the public would never know. He was not just another veteran, he was a symbol of endurance, of loyalty, of sacrifice. And yet, as he walked across the stage that day, he was not in his weathered combat gear but in a sharp, pressed suit. His stride was steady, but his eyes carried something else, a quiet weight, as if haunted by burdens invisible to the crowd. When Trump introduced him, the crowd erupted in thunderous applause. People rose to their feet, waving flags and chanting, "Uza! Uza!" The noise echoed across the lawn and into the cameras broadcasting live across the nation. Trump spoke passionately of Jack's bravery, of missions where he saved entire teams, of the countless lives spared because of his quick decisions, and of the sacrifices that only a few ever truly understood. Then Trump's voice rose with ceremony. "Today, we honor Commander Reynolds with a gift from a grateful nation, a home, fully furnished, mortgage-free, because heroes like him deserve not just our thanks, but the peace and dignity they have earned." The announcement set the audience ablaze. Cheers swept the crowd. Some veterans saluted, others shouted words of pride, and cameras flashed furiously. It was the perfect patriotic moment, or at least, it should have been. But as Trump turned to gesture toward Jack, inviting him to accept the deed, the atmosphere shifted. Commander Jack Reynolds wasn't smiling. He wasn't clapping. His face wasn't one of triumph. Instead, it was the face of a man carrying something heavier than any medal, heavier than any gift. Slowly, he walked forward. Each step seemed to echo with an unseen weight. His wife Emily, seated in the front row with their daughter, clutched the child's hand tightly, her nervous eyes never leaving her husband. Jack reached the podium, standing beside the president. Trump extended his hand warmly and said, "Commander Reynolds, this home is yours. You've earned it, and America is proud of you." The crowd's applause softened as Jack shook Trump's hand firmly, but instead of reaching for the papers presented by staff, he leaned into the microphone. His voice, calm yet unwavering, cut through the afternoon air. "Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored. I have served this nation with everything I had to give, and I will never regret a single day of that service. But I cannot accept this gift." Gasps rippled instantly. The cheers stopped cold. The crowd froze in stunned silence, while even Trump blinked in surprise, caught off guard by the refusal. Emily's grip on her daughter's hand tightened, her lips parting as she stared in shock. Jack continued, his voice steady, though tinged with emotion. "This home, this generous gesture, it's more than I deserve. But there are families out there who paid the ultimate price. Families of men and women who never came home. They don't have their fathers, their mothers, their sons or daughters. They live with an emptiness no gift can erase. If this house is meant for me, then I ask it be given to one of them instead." The silence was deafening. Journalists scribbled furiously, some forgetting to breathe. Veterans lowered their heads, some openly wiping tears. Trump studied Jack carefully. He knew this wasn't defiance, it was something deeper, something raw and genuine. Jack's voice trembled slightly, but his words carried enormous weight. "I already have a home, Mr. President. What I ask for today is something greater than walls and bricks." He paused, gathering strength, then spoke words that would echo across the nation. "I ask that we take care of the children of the fallen. Too many are growing up without their parents because of wars fought quietly. Missions no one will ever hear about. They carry the weight of sacrifices they never chose. I ask that this gift, and many like it, go to them." It was like a thunderclap. The request wasn't rehearsed for applause. It came from the soul of a soldier still carrying promises. Mothers of fallen heroes wept openly. Veterans stood at attention, saluting silently. Even Melania Trump, seated in the front row, looked visibly shaken. Jack pressed on, stronger now. "Give these children homes, give them education, give them the future their parents dreamed of. That would be the greatest honor you could give me, Mr. President." The crowd, moved beyond words, rose to its feet in a slow, powerful ovation. It wasn't the wild, celebratory chant of before. It was something far more solemn, more meaningful, a collective acknowledgement of sacrifice and humility. Trump placed a hand firmly on Jack's shoulder. His voice softened. "Commander, you've given us much to think about." Cameras zoomed in, and for the first time, people saw not just a soldier making a request, but a man unburdening a story he had carried silently for years. That night, the clip spread like wildfire. News anchors replayed it on loop, debating whether Jack's rejection was an act of humility or an unintended embarrassment to the president. Social media exploded. Hashtags like #ForTheFallenKids and #Promise kept trended for days. Millions shared the video. Writing messages like "This is what true heroism looks like," and "Commander Reynolds speaks for every forgotten family." The video had gone viral, not because of politics, but because of humanity. But while the world reacted, Jack sat quietly on his porch at home, staring at the stars. Emily joined him with a cup of tea. "You shocked the world today," she whispered. Jack was silent for a long moment, his jaw tight. Then he finally answered, "I couldn't take that house, Emily, not after what I promised." She turned to him, puzzled. "Promised? Who?" His eyes grew misty. Daniel Brooks, Jack's closest friend in the SEALs. They had trained together, fought side by side, shared laughs and rare moments of peace, and survived missions few would dare attempt. But on one operation, deep in hostile territory, Daniel hadn't made it back. His final words, whispered with fading breath, were about his daughter Lily. "Take care of her, promise me." And Jack had promised. Emily placed her hand gently on his. "This is about Lily, isn't it?" Jack nodded, swallowing hard. "She's growing up without her dad. I can't erase that. But if I can make this country care about children like her, maybe Daniel's sacrifice won't feel so heavy." The next morning, Jack's phone rang. The caller ID was restricted, but he knew. "Commander Reynolds," came Trump's voice, steady but firm. "I've been thinking about what you said yesterday. Most people would have accepted the gift. But what you asked for, it struck a nerve. We can't let this end as just a headline. I want to meet you privately." That meeting in the Oval Office changed everything. Trump, Melania, and a few close advisors listened as Jack poured out the story of Daniel, the promise, and his vision. Trump leaned back, thoughtful. "You're asking for something bigger than yourself. I respect that. Let's see what we can do." Weeks later, at a surprise event at the Kennedy Center, Trump unveiled something no one expected: the Daniel Brooks Foundation, created in honor of Jack's fallen brother-in-arms, dedicated to housing, scholarships, and mentorship for children of fallen service members. The crowd erupted. Veterans saluted. Families of the fallen wept with gratitude. From that day forward, Jack's life transformed. He became the face of the foundation, traveling across the country, speaking at schools, bases, and communities. He met children everywhere: a boy in Texas who dreamed of flying planes, a girl in Ohio who drew pictures of her dad in heaven. Each story fueled his resolve. Each face reminded him of his promise. The foundation grew, powered by donations from celebrities, corporations, and everyday Americans. Trump himself donated millions, telling Jack privately, "Commander, you reminded me what true sacrifice looks like." The video of Jack refusing the gift and asking for the children had gone viral. But what came after proved it wasn't just a moment, it was a movement. Jack would later kneel at Daniel's grave, Lily by his side, whispering, "Brother, I couldn't save you, but I saved your promise. Your little girl is smiling again, and through her, you live on." And for the first time in years, Jack felt peace. Because sometimes the greatest battles aren't won on the battlefield, they're won in hearts, in promises kept, and in legacies carried forward. And that viral video, the one that began with a gift refused, had transformed into something greater than anyone imagined. Not just a story, but a promise kept alive for generations.